Welcome to the rules video of BossMonster. In this video I'll show you how to play the game. So the game, every game turn is made up of 5 different phases. Phase number 1 will be beginning of turn, phase 2 is a build phase, 3 is bait phase, 4 is adventure phase, and 5 is end of turn. So let's start right now with beginning of turn. So the first thing you'll do at the beginning of a new turn is to reveal one hero per player, even counting players that have been eliminated from the game. So let's say Cleopatra has been eliminated, we would still add 3 heroes in this step. So you always use the deck, the hero deck to the rightmost hero deck. So we'll start with ordinary heroes, and eventually when the hero deck is the ordinary hero deck is depleted, then we'll start adding up epic heroes. So there is a big leap between the two, so you really have to be ready before the epic heroes show up. So we've added 3 heroes, or I should have said, if you have the expansion, the first thing you would do is flip one item first, then flip the heroes, so you add only 1 item per turn, and you add 1 hero per player. And the item would be equipped by the first hero that has the matching symbol. So the first cleric here would be equipping the Inquisitor's robes. So this has 2 sections, as you can see. The first one with the monster head is the ability that this item gives a boss if the boss has this item equipped. But for now it will be a hero that has it, so you have to look at the second section. So this says destroy the first advanced room that this hero survived. So this is a very powerful item, but maybe in the first at the start of the game it won't be much of a problem, because it might be a while before we see advanced rooms. So just something to keep in mind. This is a very bad draw for me, because I only have magic symbols or magic tomes. So, and there are no wizards. So right now nobody's coming to my dungeon. The 2 clerics would go to Cleopatra because she has 2 cleric symbols and Zyzax has only 1, so they would both go there. And the thief wouldn't move, so we'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but just know that he would stay in town. We'll see why a little bit later on. So if we have a look at a hero card, you can see the treasure icon that hero is looking for. So this is really it really depends on the type of hero. So if thieves will be looking for treasure bags, so this is the treasure icon he's looking for. This is the amount of health the hero has, so you have to deal him 6 damage or more to kill him or to win his soul. As we've seen earlier, this is the icon that tells you which hero should be in the game depending on the number of players. So during the game they have no impact. And the blood drop here is the amount of damage that hero will do to the boss if the hero reaches the boss. So all ordinary hero will do 1 damage, and the epic hero will do 2 damage. And on the back side of the hero, as you can see here, there's a small coin symbol. This represents how many souls that hero is worth. So again, all ordinary hero are worth 1 soul, and the epic heroes are worth 2 souls. So this is what you're looking for to win the game. So you need 10 or more to win the game. Now the last thing to do in the beginning of turn phase is each hero will draw a room card, and if you have just know that no spell cards or item ability or room ability can be played during the first phase. So first phase, very simple. reveal one item if you have the item expansion, reveal a number of hero equal to the number of player, and every hero or every player draws a room card. Now the build phase. So during the build phase, it's very similar to what we did during the setup of the game. Every player has the chance to play up to one room, so you can decide to not play any room. At the beginning of the game, I guess it's a bit risky to do that, but I mean, you never know. Maybe it's worth it for your game plan. If we have a look at the room cards, you can see that there are two types of rooms. So they have, it's the same colors as the hero decks. You have room cards with the gray symbols and some with the gold symbols. So the gray symbols are the ordinary room and the gold symbols are the advanced rooms. So if you want to play an ordinary room, know that you can build it on the next space in your dungeon. So you can't build the end or the beginning of your dungeon first. You really have to build from right to left. So you can play it in the next open slot, or if there are still slots open, because there is a maximum amount of cards you can have. So if you have a dungeon can't be more than 5 cards long. So once you've reached the 5th card, you can't play. There's no 6th slot here, so you can build an ordinary room in the next open slot, or you can build it over any room in your any current room in your dungeon. So at this time I don't want to cover up this one, so I would probably play this card here. When you do that, you would again play it face down in order of players. So I would wait for the other players to have made their choice. Let's say Cleopatra chooses this one, and Xyzax chooses this one, and now I can place mine. The reason you're waiting for the other players is it's important to know if they're building over a room or if they're creating a new one. So this can influence what you do. So we've all placed our new room cards. We would all flip them in the or reveal them in the order of the player, and again reveal the when you build this room event if there is one. So this one has none. The Neanderthal cave doesn't have one either, and mine doesn't have one. So we're all good. If we have a look at the structure of the room card, you can see that each room has 2 information in the top left corner. So gray, it means it's an ordinary room, and golden, or let me show you one. Gold symbol here means it's an advanced room. You have the icon in the circle tells you if it's a trap room. So right now I only have trap rooms in my dungeon. Or you can have, like Neanderthal caves here, monster face in the circle. So this is a monster room. So when you read the text or the room abilities or the spells, it's very important to look closely at the text to know if it affects any room or only monster room or trap rooms, etc. So that's the icons at the top. You have the ability of the room in the text here. So this one is destroy this room. If you do, kill a hero in this room. So you can sacrifice the room to kill any hero in that room. So that's a very decent basic card. On the bottom left corner, it tells you the amount of damage that room does. So we'll see how it plays out a bit later on, but this one does 3 damage, this one only 1. And the last thing, but it's very important, the treasure icon tells you which type of heroes that room attracts. So this one would attract fighters, this one would attract thieves, wizards, etc. So that's the room. Now the advanced room, if you ever want to build an advanced room, you need to build it over another room. So you can't just place it in the next open slot. You absolutely have to build it over a room. And it has to be over a room that shares at least one of the treasure icon, because some cards have more than one. So it has to share the treasure icon. So as you can see here, I couldn't build the recycling center over the dark laboratory, but I could build it over the bottomless pit. So eventually, and because this is a great card, so I'll probably end up building it over this one if I don't have any other choice later down the game. Also know that spell cards can be played during this phase, but they have to be played before the cards are revealed, before the room cards are revealed. So you can play them as soon as the phase starts, or you can play them when every room card is face down. But as soon as the first player has revealed his room, you can't play spells anymore. And if we have a look at the spell cards, you'll see, let me see if I can find another example. Good. So in this case, the spells don't have as much elements on them as room cards, but of course there's the ability, so that's very important. That's what the spell does. And there is the small icon on the bottom left corner. So during the build phase, you can only use spells that have the little hammer symbol. So either the hammer or hammer and axe. So those two cards could be played during the build phase. This one couldn't. As you can probably figure out, if a spell has both icons, then it can be played either during the build phase or the adventure phase, as we'll see later on. So I didn't have that spell in my hand. Also know that if more than one player plays a spell at the same time, the order in which those spells are resolved is always the active player will resolve his spell first, and then every other player that has played a spell would resolve in order of XP. So again, it's one of the important things of the XP values of the bosses. Whenever a hero builds the 5th room in his dungeon, so let's just pretend like we did earlier. If in this phase I had played this card and then I revealed it, since this would be the first time in the game I would have my dungeon complete, this is when the level up ability of the boss triggers. So as soon as your when you build this room ability has been resolved, if there is any, then you would automatically level up. So whatever is the boss ability would trigger. So in this case, I could either grab one of those hero or one from the decks and just place it in face or in front of my dungeon. So to resume what happens during the build phase, every hero has the chance of playing up to one room card in their dungeon. If they want to do so in order of XP, the boss would place the card either in an open slot or over another room. Also at this time, any player can play spells that affect the build phase, so with the little hammer. Once everybody has played their room, everybody reveals their room and triggers the when you build this room ability in order of XP. And then if a player has reached the 5th slot in their dungeon, has built in their 5th slot, then their boss levels up and the level up ability triggers, and that's the build phase. Now, bait phase. In the bait phase, this is when the bosses fight over the heroes and try to lure them into their dungeon. This is done in order from the left to the right of the hero. So the hero that has been in town for the longest is the first one to be resolved, and you go right. So we have to figure out where this hero will go. To do so, you look in every dungeon and you add up all the symbol that's in the top right corner of the hero. So in this case, the holy symbol or the relic symbol, I have none. Xyzax has only one, and Cleopatra has 3. So the cleric will go to Cleopatra, and they go to the to the dungeon in order, or you need to place them, sorry, in the order that they arrive to the dungeon. Now the thief, I have 1 symbol, Xyzax has 1 symbol, and Cleopatra has 1 symbol. So whenever there's a tie during the lure or the bait phase, either between 2 or 3 players, doesn't matter. If nobody has more treasure, the search treasure icon than any other player, then that hero stays in town. So the thief will stay in town for this round, and the second cleric will go at the same place as the first one. So like you can see, I placed them in order, in the order they arrived to the dungeon. So this means in the adventure phase that this hero will go through the dungeon first, and then this one. So as you can see right now, the thief stayed in town. This means that in the next beginning of turn phase, we'll still add 3 more heroes. So we'll have 4 heroes in town. And this can happen, and eventually this can mean, I've seen games where there are like 9 or 10 heroes in town because there are so many ties between the player. So whenever one of the player has more treasure icon, the treasure icon looked after for the hero, he can end up with 6 heroes in one turn. So that's very rewarding. So that's what you want as a boss, to lure heroes so you can try and kill them and win their soul. But it's very dangerous also, because eventually if there are too many heroes in your dungeon, then you can lose the game pretty quickly. So that's the bait phase. Bait phase, simple. Look through every card one by one. Look at who has, or what dungeon has the most symbol, including the symbol or the treasure icon given by the bosses, and just send those heroes to the right dungeon. Now, during the adventure phase, you will process every hero first come first served through the dungeon. So in this case, this cleric would be the first to go. Remember, he has an item equipped, but this item only affects advanced room, and there are no advanced room in this dungeon, so the item will have no effect. The way the adventure phase works is the hero enters the first room. When this happens, any room ability can be triggered by the player. So let's just have a look. The Succubus Spa. Once per turn, if a hero dies in this room, choose an opponent, take a random room or spell card from that opponent's hand. So this has no effect on the hero. And this one, destroy this room, choose 1 card from the discard pile and put it in your hand. So again, no luck for Cleopatra in this one. Let's see if she has spells. Okay, so she doesn't have anything to help, so this is a bad turn for Cleopatra. So what happens? The hero enters the first room. Like I said, room abilities can be triggered. In this case, there are none to trigger. And the next thing that happens is the room deals damage to the hero. So the hero suffers 1 damage because that's what the room card says right here. So the hero has only 5 health left. Now any player could play a spell with the adventure symbol. So again, if we have a look, you could play in this case either cards with the axe icon or the card with both the hammer and the axe. Sadly for Cleopatra, she has no card to help her deal more damage or do whatever to that hero, so she can't play anything, and I don't think either me or Xyzax will help Cleopatra out, so no spells are played this time. So the hero has 5 health left. No spells are played, so the hero moves to the next room. Again, any room ability could be triggered, none to a trigger in this case. Then the room deals damage, so another damage goes to the hero. The hero has 4 hit points left, and again, no spells will be played. So the hero reaches Cleopatra. When this happens, the hero deals damage to Cleopatra. So in this case, since it's an ordinary hero, he would deal 1 damage to Cleopatra. And the item, since the hero wasn't defeated in the dungeon, the item is still put in the scorekeeping area of the boss, but face down, so Cleopatra can't use it. If that hero would have been defeated, let's say in the Dark Altar, that's not the case, but let's say it was defeated here, that hero would be removed from the dungeon and placed face down, so that the soul icon is showing, and also placed in the scorekeeping area of that boss. So Cleopatra would have 1 soul right now, but sadly for her, she only has 1 wound instead. And of course we know what will happen with the second cleric, because it also has 6 hit points and Cleopatra can't play anything. So enters the first room, gets dealt 1 damage, so 5 hit point. Second room, again gets dealt 1 damage, so 4 hit points. Survives and reaches the boss, so another wound goes to Cleopatra. So you can just stack the wound cards like so you can see the amount of wounds the boss has, and you can do the same thing with the hero cards, but face down for the amount of souls that the boss has. If the first cleric that was carrying the item had been defeated in the dungeon, not only would Cleopatra have won his soul instead of getting wound, but also she would have won the item. So if that happens, if you defeat a hero wearing an item or having an item equipped, you acquire that item and you can place it in your score area but face up. So this means that you now have the ability next to the monster head. So in this case you could choose and destroy an advanced room in any dungeon. So that's pretty powerful. You can start messing around or messing up the other player's dungeon. The thing to know about items though is they're all one-time uses. So if you use that ability, you would then flip the card face down and it's done. The only way you can place it or return it face up again is with the use of some new cards, so either spell cards or room cards that came with the expansion. So one example of this is the spell Excavation, that says you choose 1 item in any scorekeeping area. You may flip it up or face down. So I could use this if Seducia had that card. I could use it to remove or to flip the robe face down, so that Cleopatra can't use it. Or if I had it in my dungeon, I could use it to flip it back up if I used it, so I can use it again. So in this case, 2 wounds and no item. Also know that if you receive the 5th wound in an adventure phase, you don't remove the player from the game right now. So you would still, if there were any heroes left to process in front of that player's dungeon, they would still get processed, so potentially having more wounds. But that player is still active and is only removed from the game in the next end of turn phase. So she could still play spells against Xyzak's army during this turn. And lastly, the end of turn phase. In this phase, any card that had the until end of turn time limit is removed from play. Any deactivated room is brought back into play. So some cards, such as the freeze spell here, can deactivate a room when this happens, you flip the card face down, so it's ignored by, well, for any intent, everything in the game ignores this room, so heroes just skip it, and the ability on that card can't be played anymore. During the end of turn phase, any deactivated room are reactivated, so they're turned back, they're turned face up. And lastly, you check if a player is eliminated. So any player with 5 wounds or more are removed from the game right now. This means you remove their dungeon and remove their hand of cards from the game. They are not discarded. They are removed from the game, so nobody can access those cards anymore, even through spells that would let you search through the discard deck. Then, amongst the remaining player, you look if anybody has 10 souls or more. If they do and they have more souls than anybody else, they win the game. If there is a tie for the amount of soul amongst player that would have won the game, so 10 souls or more, if there's a tie, the tiebreaker is you subtract the amount of wounds the boss has suffered from the number of souls the boss has gained. The highest value or the highest result from that determines the winner. If there's still a tie after this step, the player with the lowest XP value amongst every tied player for the win would win. So in my case, let's say I'm tied with Cleopatra. If the number of wounds and a number of souls can't determine a winner, then I would win, because my boss is only worth 600 XP and hers is worth 850. So I'm the lowest XP value. So since I usually have disadvantages in the game from having lowest XP, then I would win the game. If nobody won, you start over, run a second turn, and so on until someone does. So again, remember that a hero that stayed in town for the turn would not change the amount of new hero to be added. So in the next beginning of turn phase, I would still add 3 heroes even though there's already 1 here. So this concludes the rules video for BossMonster by Brotherwise Games. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, leave a comment in the section below or subscribe to the channel. If you have questions about the rules for this game, also ask them in the section below. And until next time, keep on gaming.